Welcome to the open mic, everybody. We do this call because MSPs asked. They wanted to know what we've been up to, what we're working on, what new features have been added, and you folks wanted to do a little R&D or rob and duplicate automation ideas from your MSP peers. Couple reminders. I see a lot of MSPs go from 0 to 100 in automation. How many of you, let me see who I'm going to call on. I'm just going to pick a random name from the list here. Russell's on video, and I don't know if Russell's new or not. I haven't seen that name. Russell, are you new?
Not terribly.
Okay. How many MSPs have been successful with automation that have never asked a question, Russell?
None.
Exactly. One of the warning signs that I see for you folks that are new, MSPs, and usually people in general, that think they're an expert at something, it's difficult for them to learn new things. And so they don't tend to win. With that, ask questions. It doesn't matter how dumb it is, how dumb you think it is, how small it is, how hard it is. Ask questions. You can do it publicly in the coop. You can do it in your private channel, and my folks will jump in and assist you, so you're not alone to your devices trying to figure it out yourself. Other reminders we have, Jake didn't mean to raise his hand. Just some other reminders. We have maintenance tonight and tomorrow night on various platforms. This is a good time to get used to checking status.rewst.io. We will be posting maintenance windows weeks, a month in advance. So you folks can have a heads up. We don't expect at any time when we post a maintenance window, we don't expect the maintenance to take the entire window. If you folks have followed us on maintenance in the past, sometimes we'll post an hour and we'll be done in 8 minutes, right? When we're doing a maintenance window, we always look at worst case. If we have an issue, if we have to do some big architecture change to recover from the maintenance, how long is it going to take? So I think we scheduled 2-hour windows for this weekend. We fully do not expect it to take 2 hours, but it could. We'll be posting in the coop when the maintenance in your region begins, and we'll be posting in the coop when the maintenance ends. This is good maintenance. We're doing some pretty dramatic updates to the environment that we need to get done. And with that, Ash is out of the office. George, are you the stand-in?
It's me. Her Canadian mustache counterpart. So you guys are stuck with me and seeing this afternoon. So please be kind in the comments. But thank you, Aharon, for getting the ball rolling, and we'll get things started. We actually have some pretty exciting demos from partners today. We've actually got a bit of a theme running around Microsoft Teams, so really excited to see the demos that we have lined up. But first things first, we're going to get through some of our Rewst updates. So I'll kick it over to Danial with an A to tell us all about what product has been up to.
Hey everybody. All right, yeah, Aharon stole my talking point because he's selfish, but here is the status page. You can see that there are different maintenance windows for different regions. So come here for any of your questions or concerns around, I guess not concerns, but come here for any of your questions to get those answered around all of our maintenance windows and incidents and all that type of stuff. We have an RSS feed too on the status page, just status.rewst.io. Okay, you'll notice I haven't posted the dev notes yet. We are going to finish deploying all of the new stuff to every region tomorrow during the maintenance windows. So I'll post those notes and then we'll talk about them next week and walk you through some of the new functionality that we have. We have some exciting demos scheduled for next week, including potentially one of our favorite people, Dan Hayes, but still TBT. But yeah, we have some exciting features coming out and those notes will be posted later. But in the meantime, I wanted to talk about, I guess, two things. So I'm going to post a link here we have an upcoming webinar. One of the things that we're going to be releasing tomorrow is for Ninja One. So if you use Ninja One, there's a webinar happening on Thursday, and we're also releasing new actions for ticketing and documentation. So we'll walk through some exciting new functionality for that next week. And yeah, the link is in the chat here. The other thing I wanted to talk about is it's been 3 long weeks since Flow. I miss you all, and I wanted to give a quick update on some of the features that Aaron talked about. So I just want to show that we are still moving very quickly on Robo Rewsty and the AI functionality. This is the first, we've been working, obviously engineers work locally and then they move it to our testing and staging environments and then before it gets to production. So I just wanted to show that this is the staging environment, and you can see up here, you have your little Robo Rewsty, and Robo Rewsty is now actually in staging. So we're getting really close to being able to beta this. It's probably going to be within, I would hope, within the next month for our September release schedule. Yeah, I would never tell pizza but you cannot leak what has already been leaked. Yeah, so we have Robo Rewsty here. We are still waiting to connect some of the like MCP functionality and documentation functionality to it, but it does have some very basic, like we have the UI already, we have some conversational history. You can ask it questions and it will actually save that history for you, and you can search those conversations to see what you've previously done with it. And just to, in case you were not there, I just wanted to show that this is the functionality that we have talked about in multiple open mics now, as well as the keynote. We have currently, you can have some AI actions available to you in Rewst, including OpenAI, including Anthropic, including the new Crushbank integration that we released. The first things that we're going to be adding first functionality that we're going to be adding are automatically documenting completed workflows. So yeah, if you don't have your workflows documented with our beautiful notes and stuff on the canvas, Robo Rewsty can help you with that. We also have Q&A with our docs, so you can ask questions around things like options gens or stuff that you may not, that may not be as obvious, or you may not have a thorough understanding of, and it will give you an answer, and it will actually link you to the relevant documentation. We also have analysis of failed workflows and suggesting fixes. So if you run your workflow, it fails, you don't really understand the reason why, it can actually analyze that workflow for you and look into all of your integration settings and Jinja and everything like that and give you some answers. And then the Grail is building new workflows with natural language prompts. So this is probably not going to be available for September. We're looking at a Q4 release date for that, but as we move along, I'll continue to try to give updates at these open mics and show you exactly what the state is. So yeah, you can expect access to Robo Rewsty in September. We've released part of this into staging. It will be making it into production, but it will be behind a feature flag for a while, so we can do some internal testing and wait until we get that minimum functionality to get it in front of all you wonderful people. So that's it for me for this week. Back to you, George.
Thanks, Daniel. Rock and roll. Really excited for that to come out in September. Yeah, Robo Rewsty's looking slick. So lots of hype around that, lots of excitement in the community. So is there anywhere, folks? I kind of posed this on another call to you, Daniel, so it's not the first time you're hearing this question, but is there anything people can do or any recommendations you'd make for folks now prior to getting access to Robo Rewsty in terms of tidying things up or just making sure stuff's ready to rock and roll in their own Rewst environments?
I mean, we have such a great community. If you have any wonderful ideas on how we can use AI to meaningfully enhance Rewst, we're always looking for that. So post a canny, ping us in Discord, or get a hold of your CS or account manager or anything like that. We love your ideas. I've been meeting this week. I met with a couple of Australian clients about some of the AI functionality that we have. And Pizza did some live demos with them and stuff like that. So yeah, we just love getting your ideas on automation and how you're going to use it. So that's, I guess, my main. I probably told you a different answer last time, but that's okay.
It's good. Variety. There is no wrong answer. So there you go, folks. If you're super keen and want to get involved and help shape the future of Robo Rewsty, reach out to Daniel and book some time. Next up, we have Mr. JP with our marketplace update on some crates and other bits and pieces. JP, welcome. Hello.
Hi. All right. This week for enhancements, we updated the workflow that maintains the Microsoft licensing SKUs template to add the functionality of updating existing entries, and it will, of course, append new ones as well. We added a bit to the job summary when you run the offboarding workflow. We added some notes that contain friendly name translations for some of the GUIDs. So that's a little bit easier, more human usable. We did that with a sub workflow that you can reuse in your own workflows as well. That does a few fields: supervisor, shared mailbox list, send mail from user, and forward mail to user fields for offboarding. We have a handful of bug fixes that we implemented as well. And hopefully next week we have a good number of crates that we'll be releasing. They're just sitting in the hopper, ready to go. That's it for Marketplace.
Thank you, JP. Next up, we have updates from the lovely Clea with a C on education. Clea, how many folks have been getting certified this week? Can you do them all in one breath?
A lot. We shall see. Let me get ready to share my screen here. Yeah, this week I can. So folks need to step it up next week, cancel your summer vacations, and go get certified. Shout outs to Jay, Joshua, Logan, Eric, Nick, John, and Brian for foundations. Shout outs to Talia, Anto, Sven, and Brian for clean automation. Gonna remove my gum so you can all hear me clearly. Do reach out to us in the CluckU Discord channel if you have any feedback, questions, etc. for training. Specifically, would love your feedback in this thread that I just dropped. We are looking to curate API resources. So like beyond our amazing automation basics course that teaches you a little bit about APIs, what has helped you learn stuff that has helped you succeed in Rewst? Share resources there and let us know if you have any questions, or drop them in the chat here and I'll start curating them. We've got office hours every Friday. So that's a change from Mondays. Sign up and meet with the legendary Eddie Chow to ask him questions about Cluck University content. This week, we also went live with our new Rewst Foundations short, fast-paced training. So taking it down from 7 hours to just 3. And I think in 2 weeks, we have clean automation coming up. So register for those. In terms of other updates, we've made updates to all of our onboarding courses. We now feature integration demos for popular tools like Datto RMM, Halo PSA. We even have a crate walkthrough of the new user onboarding crate focused on Microsoft. So a lot of new good content in there. Check it out. And if you have taken the pre-assessment course, there's a quiz. If you got any duplicate questions, we identified an issue and fixed it. Any feedback, reach out to us in Discord or at clucku@rewst.io. And in terms of documentation, we've got more in the hopper, so probably more next week. But new documentation for Acronis and an updated intro to triggers, Rewst triggers document. Thanks all.
Sweet, thanks Clea. Some suggestions coming into the chat for CluckU courses and names. Check it out and let us know what you think. Next up is me with some community updates, but I guess it's a theme here. I was going to talk about the upcoming Ninja webinar, and Daniel has stolen my thunder after he got his stolen by Aharon. But the link is in the chat, guys. If you want to go looking for it, we do have a webinar next week in partnership with Ninja. We know a lot of our community partners are using Ninja for their RMM. We've set up a channel in Discord as well under the Birds of a Feather section. So looking forward to exploring that and obviously taking a peek at how Rewst and Ninja can work together to help alleviate some of the manual process problems you guys are experiencing. The other thing I will talk about and drop in here is we had a great time at Flow. Everyone did, if you were there. We loved it. We miss it. Let's start ramping up for next year already. I'm going to drop the link in. We have an early bird discount here running until mid-August, and the nice thing is if you buy more than one ticket, so maybe you want to bring your partner, maybe you want to bring a colleague, it's an extra $50 off, meaning you can get your early bird ticket for $199. So go ahead, book your summer holiday, get it booked in now. Treat the 2026 version of you to Flow next year. So yeah, take a look at that, check it out. We'd love to start building the hype already. And for anyone who is feeling that FOMO, don't miss out. Don't miss out again. Have a fantastic time. Other things we have coming up, a brand new little section on open mics with another key member of the team, Mr. Ben Clymer, is going to start showing us every week a little tip or a trick. And one of the things I wanted to ask for the community is I feel like this is a great thing to maybe have some type of jingle for. We're a big fan of our soundboard at Rewst, but maybe if anyone has a little Ben Clymer's tips and tricks jingle they could work on and share, that'd be something cool to have on this weekly call. So Ben, over to you, sir, for your first ever tip and trick.
Thanks, George. So this week we are going to talk about trigger criteria because we had some questions come up from a few different customers. So I thought we'd do a quick run through. So I found this interesting workflow in our demo environment, and I thought it would be a good one to play with this on. So we've got a webhook coming in from Ticketmaster here, and let's add some criteria to this. So George is looking to get some email alerts, it looks like, and we're going to go down here to kind of this purple little chart for test criteria, and we've got active results coming in. And once we kind of have the value that we're looking for, the first thing that I like to do when I'm kind of adding my criteria to this is pause, so that it doesn't run away from you with a bunch of new results. So we're going to pause the trigger criteria here. And then we're going to start adding this criteria. Now I can go over here and I can type in price and say less than 100. Keep in mind and watch for these bits right here. So for example, less than operator is going to only support numerical values. So for example, sometimes an API will come back with a number that's inside of a double quotes, making it a string. So for example, seat 100 in double quotes will not work with the less than operator, something to watch out for. But one of the cool things about this is if I kind of have what I want built out over here, I can just click a value and it's going to add it to the criteria for me. So I don't need to type all this out. If I want to make sure the event is this specific concert, I can click that and that's going to work there because it's a string value on the equals, something else to watch for. Other things, anytime you put something in criteria, this is not an or value. These are all ands. So everything that you add here must be met. One of the things that we often see with tickets coming in is people will not exclude Rewst from ticket updates. So it sort of creates a loop. They'll do a trigger on when a ticket is updated, but they won't exclude Rewst. So they'll have a workflow that occurs on ticket update, and then Rewst updates the ticket, and we just get stuck in a loop. So whenever you do an update ticket trigger, for example, you're going to want to make sure that you exclude Rewst from that to prevent any looping. Additional things here, let's see. Exclude Rewst, great. equal operator that's only going to be string values. I think I went over that. Clicking. You can add Jinja evaluations in here. You can only add one, but you can add a lot in here, and you can combine it with the additional criteria. So if you use Jinja evaluations and you have a conflicting value up here in this criteria, that's something to keep in mind, is that both of these will apply. And I think that is all I have. We've got the price set, and George is going to get his emails for new tickets.
Thanks so much, Ben. Really looking forward to that. Appreciate it. Okay, with that, we are going to jump into some partner demos. So first up, we have Mr. Daniel. I'm going to be brief. I'm going to get this right. Danial Duncan Jacobson Knowlton. I feel like I didn't get it. Did I, Dan?
Donkey Jacobs Knowlton. You'll get it. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'll get there. I'll probably got to practice in the mirror.
Yes.
All right. So Dan, you've got Ben. You're still sharing your screen there, if you don't mind coming off, and we can kick it over to Dan. Dan, just before we jump in, you and I are kind of chatting in Discord about this. You've got some cool stuff to show us around Microsoft Teams bots, but I wanted to kind of set the scene, maybe for folks who are new to Rewst, new to the community. We'll just start by a little bit of who are you, where are you from, how long have you been using Rewst?
Sounds good. So I'm Daniel Donkey Jacobs Knowlton, lovingly named DD by, my workstation might have frozen. There we go, camera's back. Lovingly named DD by Charlie at Rewst this year. I've been working in the platform since 2022 now. I work with I used to work for Afinial, now I work for Intelligent Technical Solutions as head of automation over there. So we came in we saw the little funky chicken logo at the bottom of SIP when we were using it one day, and we're curious what that was, and kind of poked around some more, and have been loving the platform ever since.
Awesome. So walk us through a lot, like Microsoft Teams bots is quite topical at the minute. There's lots of people using them, exploring the kind of cool things they can do. Can you just tell us a little bit about what you've been doing with them, and then kind of talk about the process that you've started to automate in Rewst?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've been, we all live in Teams now. All of our meetings are in Teams. We're chatting in Teams all the time. So I wanted to put things in front of users to make their lives easier. So they wouldn't have to go to a different platform, so that I can leverage Rewst to send a message to a Teams bot to pull the data out and give them what they need, whether they need to summarize a ticket, whether they want to pull an opportunity, or I have some just-in-time admin stuff that I've demoed on previous open mics that allow you to do a lot of fun things from within Rewst itself, and not without having to leave Teams even. So the focus has really been, what can I do to make your life easier? I'll interview other departments saying, hey, what do you do repetitively? What do you have to log into to find this information that you feel like should be quicker? And what can I do to help you perform your job faster?
Yeah, a couple of key things there. Like you said, they mentioned that the just-in-time, is that the crate that is available in the marketplace? Is that what you're using, or is it something custom?
No, something custom I had built right before that crate actually came out. But definitely the crate's something you could definitely leverage from that. But my workflow would basically, you could request to elevate your admin account that had to be pre-created, and then send you a duo push to approve that you were who you were, and then assign the roles as appropriate.
Before you share your screen and show us what you built here, Daniel, I feel like there's always so much excitement and interest around anything Microsoft, but then you always kind of run into hurdles as an MSP. What were some of the challenges that you encountered kind of within that ecosystem when trying to get things set up, and how did you work it out?
Yeah, so the whole bot framework is a quite complicated thing to get going, if that's one of your first explores into Azure and its resources. Brandon Martinez has an absolutely great blog on how to do it and get that set up initially. If somebody wouldn't mind dropping the link in chat for that. And then Brian Simpson also has some additional stuff in how to send approval cards and kind of really get you into the adaptive card side of things as well, to make it feel like a truly built out bot that is going to be successful and feel like part of your organization rather than something hacked together on a Friday night.
Gotcha. So yeah, take your time to kind of build it right the first time, and yeah, be patient.
Yep.
Love
exactly.
it. All right, DD, let's check it out. Let's see what you're working with.
Cool. So like I said, I really like to go through and interview different departments and see what they are doing, what things I can help make easier for them. So the other day I had a request to make it easier to find a meeting time. And so can I give a list of users to the Teams bot and say, when's the next time these people can meet? And it turns out there's a Graph API call for just exactly that. The API call takes a list of required and optional attendees, a time range of date start, date end, the number of occurrences you want back, and even will actually respect the work hours set in Teams or in Outlook for that user. So going back to weird things that you run into with Microsoft's APIs and Rewst, for some reason, this endpoint just does not support application permissions. So you have to actually say run as delegate admins, or run using delegate permissions, which means you have to include Rewst as a attendee in the meeting because you're using the Rewst account to actually make the request. So the nice thing about this, these calls and this endpoint is that you can actually have the organizer be optional. So I made the call saying, let's make the organizer optional. It will include everybody else as either a required or optional attendee. You can even book rooms. We don't really have offices anymore, so I didn't bother including that here. But you can set duration and return reasons why suggestions are there, and then require a specific number of attendees to be there. So in Rewst, this looks like something simple here, where this is actually a sub workflow that I built specifically knowing I wanted it to be a sub workflow so I could use it in multiple places going forward. Using it in the Teams bot was just an extra addition that we could do. So looking at the workflow itself, it takes an input of message, which is literally just the string that the message, or that literally just a string that the user sent to the bot saying, I would like to book a meeting for this time. The next step will grab a list of users for account users who are enabled and that have a valid email address. And then it actually sends it off to OpenAI with a list of those users and a request for a JSON object back that I can use to fill in the API call for Graph. From here, it will actually send it off to find the meeting time with those same parameters I talked about earlier. You'll notice that the meeting time is, again, using the me endpoint rather than a specific user. And we'll just loop through the Jinja, add the optional and required attendees as needed, set the start time and date time, and then set a meeting confidence as well. If it can't find any meeting times, it actually comes over here and redoes that Jinja object to say, all right, let's reduce the confidence and extend the end date out. So if somebody asks for a meeting on a Saturday, it's obviously not going to be finding anything because the work hours are set to Monday through Friday. So it will then extend that date, look at times next week, and also reduce the confidence slowly by surely to find a time that will work. The one funky thing I ended up with this meeting time is that it will assume tentative invites are available. So I did have to exclude meeting invites or meeting times when somebody said they were tentative or they hadn't accepted a meeting yet, and just assume they were busy because the endpoint itself will assume that they're free. From there, it sets the meeting times to an object that we send out as output on the workflow, and then we can use that wherever we need to since it's coming out of a sub workflow. So in Teams, that'll look something like this, where I can say, find a meeting time for Daniel, Alex, and Garrick to meet. I have it set to default to a half-hour meeting and within the next 30 days. So it'll look at all of our calendars, figure out who's available and when, and send back at most 5, but obviously customizable options. This is built using an adaptive card within Teams. And so now I can click on schedule this time, and it will actually deep link into Outlook to let me change the meeting time, the attendees, and anything else I need to just within the Teams bot itself. So now people don't need to go create a meeting in Outlook. They can just send a natural language message to the Teams bot saying, hey, let's find a meeting time, and send it off from there. Any questions on that specific workflow? I've got one more to show off as well. Hunter, you need the Rewst specific user for the context. You can actually just use the same one you have that's set up in the Cloud connector already. It doesn't need to be able to sign in. It can be limited. It just needs to hit the me endpoint, and you need to make sure to exclude the user from being included in the meeting. Thanks, Dan. Jonathan, it cannot be used for scheduling people outside of your org, unfortunately. I was kind of playing with that, but could not find a good way to work around that. The initial request, I thought I was going to have to request everybody's calendar, figure out what their hours were, their meeting hour times, but it turns out there's just a single endpoint to make it easy on internal users.
I love this. This is so cool. And please, share with us your the additional thing that you wanted to demo. But I have a kind of operations question I want to circle back to afterwards.
Yeah. So there's this little time savings tab over here that says human time savings in seconds that is actually on every task. And right now, this is entirely disregarded from the time savings metrics that you see out there. But with the addition of GraphQL, you can now query this data. So I was able to build a workflow that looks at the last few executions that have run in the organization and sets an organization variable to say this is the last time I checked. And then it actually uploads all the execution data from the last 3 minutes to a time savings table or Azure table, which means now I can finally get a task-based time savings dashboard within Rewst and App Platform or App Builder now. So this is just this is all of the workflows that have run recently for us. So I can expand out child workflows and see the stacks here. So in total, this workflow in the tasks that did run on that workflow saved 1 minute and 10 seconds, rather than it being, I saved 1 minute by running this workflow. So I can say that this parent workflow saved me 0 seconds, any descendant saved me 1 minute. And then there's another one that runs down here that saves a second minute or another 10 seconds here. So getting that data has been really huge for the success of time savings tracking for us, just because it's really hard to say, all right, this workflow ran. It didn't necessarily save me 5 minutes. Maybe a condition wasn't met and it didn't actually hit the branch that does anything on the workflow. I'm very, very sad Kelvin isn't on this call, because one of the fun things about this field, and I will leave the platform if you guys change this on me, is that it does accept negative values. So, which means if we sort by time savings here, negative time savings has returned successfully in a way that you could make and report on with entirely using the platform. So it's not something you ever need to worry about. But again, I promise I will leave the platform if that gets changed. And I'm sad Dan Hayes isn't on the air.
There we go, DD. I get a lot of love there. Hero status activated, I think. That's awesome. That actually ties in nicely with my kind of question. I love that you highlighted, you went out to other people at your MSP to kind of have that conversation of like, what sucks, what can we automate? And it's something that we always talk about at Rewst around like building, that culture of automation that is developers and technicians. Sometimes the focus tends to be on the things we know and do, whereas spanning out to other stuff is really, really important. That team spot thing is so cool, because I feel like even for non-technical people, just to be able to say, hey, there's these 3 people, we all want a meeting, go do it, is such a simple use case, but to see it work is really, really cool. Whenever you rolled it out, is that something that kind of got a lot of people excited about automation at your MSP, or is there already an excitement? Or is the time savings that you're showing there something that's really kind of building and helping you guys scale and do more and more and get buy-in?
So I think one of the biggest successes I've had with automation and ideas is really setting up one-on-ones with department heads across the organization. Sit down, talk about what's bothering you, where you feel like your department's wasting time. And then after I have some idea from them, it's really going and talking to the doers about what they're doing, what's using up most of their time. It might not always be support tickets that are the problem. There could be issues. The request for the meeting time finder actually came from our client success team saying, hey, we have a request to make sure that all of these people can meet together. And it's a bunch of wasted time trying to figure out, okay, this person's calendar isn't available, but we need to schedule something. So I think it's really that just making yourself available. I know we have a lot on our plates, but as an automation engineer or leader, being available and talking to the people and not just trying to say, this is an automation, this is how I'm going to change your process. It's really about building your automations to support the existing processes after the processes have been improved initially. We are becoming less of automation engineers and becoming more of process engineers, and Rewst is kind of the leverage to help us get and be successful there.
Yeah, so don't be afraid to go and knock doors of your leadership to say, how can I help, like help me help you with automation. Love that.
Exactly. Yep.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for sharing, DD. I get a lot of love in the comments with the negative time saving stuff there.
Thank you.
We'll just give it 2 seconds if anyone has. I'm just going to make sure we didn't miss any questions, or if anyone has anything they want to drop in now just on this topic before we move on to our next partner demo with Chris. Going once, going twice. Nope. Okay, cool. Chris, now I see again surnames. This could be a tripwire for me. Chris Arnaud.
Arnaud, and
Arnaud?
very good.
Thanks.
You pronounce
Chris,
it both ways, everyone does.
Okay, which do you prefer?
Arnaud.
Arnaud. Okay, awesome. Cool. Chris, you've got another Teams bot related automation that you're gonna share with us, but maybe we can just follow the kind of same talk track that we just did with DD in terms of who you are, where you're from, and what, excuse the pun, triggered this interest into kind of doing stuff with Teams bots and building automations around them.
I have, sorry, not expecting introduction stuff and
It's okay.
confused. Working and trying to get some processes done up for our internal teams. Needed to get a bunch of different workflows done. So here we wanted to make a Teams process because, again, everybody's in Teams, where somebody would have had to jump through multiple tools to do a simple request. And in this case, it's requesting a courier service to pick up and deliver something. But previously, they had taken many steps and there was lots of documentation in places that things could be missed. So we went in and found what types of items they needed, how to reduce the workflow, and keep visibility on items that they needed to pay attention to directly.
Very cool. Okay, awesome. Yeah, feel free to share your screen and take us through what you've built.
All right. So hopefully I'm sharing the right screen.
Yeah, you're good. We can see your courier request form there.
So everybody knows forms. This is a basic form. It's got a bunch of little items in it. Now, when you fill it out, it's going to pop over into Teams, into a channel that has several people in it so that you can actually approve and deny the request. In this case, here we have our basic request, which I filled out ahead of time. And while working through this, we can select to approve or deny. And by approving it or denying it directly in here, we will see the card update and tell us exactly that it has been denied, why, and if we go over to our ticket here, we can see here's our request. And if I look at the ticket, we can even see that it's now told the ticket that it has been denied. I've also got a second one here. And if we hit the approve, it will do the same thing, update the card, update the ticket. But the interesting part about this one is instead of just saying approved, we now have additional information that we can fill out here. Our courier, our waybill number, how much the item costs, whether it's billable or not. And if I hit update, that was supposed to be fast, not fat. It will update the ticket with the information. And now that we have courier information here, we can hit a bill button automatically. And coming back into our ticket, we can see not only has the information that we've updated been documented, But we can go over here to our products, and we can see a shipping item for that waybill has already been added directly to our ticket. And we can go in, complete the request, and it'll collapse this all nicely down, removing all of the attention from this card so that a new one coming in can be focused on. The actual workflows themselves, here is an example of how this flow looks. It's actually a bit bigger. This is the demo flow. But we come in and we actually do a bunch of routing based on it, and we all go through adaptive cards to do this. One of the nice things in this giant item is we're using a SharePoint list so that somebody can go in and audit items, make sure that everything is done appropriately. And we're using that as our database backend. And for the actual routing of items, there's a thing in my screen. There we go. We actually have an incoming webhook that routes in to the appropriate web flow so that we can have multiple different TeamSpot actions using GraphQL that Chris Williamson wrote, that I have absolutely no idea how the black magic works in GraphQL, but it triggers the appropriate item, and as well a sending card flow here, which updates tokens, make sure that it goes through, and it even adds security checks. Since we're passing in what the flow ID is that we want to return to, we need to make sure that nobody tampered with it along the way. There we go. Yes, a SharePoint list.
Great, thanks so much, Chris. That's fantastic. If anyone got any questions that want to come off mute or pop into the chat, Brian?
Yeah, Chris, what did you find as some of your best resources for building out your adaptive cards? I really liked how you had them structured out. Did you have any tools that you leaned on? I know of a few, but always happy to get some more.
Adaptive Card Builder was the primary tool that I used to build them out, design them, and then I would take them into something like VS Code and throw in the Jinja needed to reformat them at that point. And the link is in chat.
Nice. I have a question too, Chris. You mentioned at the start, this had a lot of moving pieces. You're tying together some manual processes that go across different departments. Similar to DD, like how did you guys at Convergence work by going to different people in different departments? Like how did you collect that information? Did you have meetings that were one-on-one? Was there like a submission form? What did that look like to kind of actually help get the process fully documented so you could automate it?
Ultimately, the form itself existed before I started working on it, but through a bunch of company changes, we've moved away from a Microsoft flow where it went through a simple approval email, and we needed to modernize it. And we looked at that as an opportunity to reduce the overhead and improve how people interacted with it. So it's taking existing processes and trying to make them as streamlined as possible.
Cool.
Definitely a lot of meetings.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing as well with a lot of like workflows, you kind of have to keep coming back and revisiting them, right? Processes change, people change, things get updated, technology gets updated. So it's good to build these practices and establish those communication processes for sure. Anyone got any questions? I'm just checking the chat here. Some great feedback coming through on the about the adaptive cards. If we don't, guys, we have 15 minutes remaining of open Q&A. So this is the part where, yeah, we can have that classic 10 seconds of silence until someone wants to come forward with a question. Can be anything. Maybe you want some advice about a particular workflow that you're building or thinking about today. Maybe you've got something cool you want to hop on and share and show. Let us know. But yeah, let's get through that awkward 7 seconds of silence first.
I got a question on the GraphQL access. Does everyone have that currently?
No, not everybody. No.
Okay, cool.
It's
I've had some like trying to be able to pull permissions and roles so I can manage them in my own app platform, like portal that I'm using, and be able to manage like what access certain team members or clients do. So does GraphQL Access give me insight into the permissions and roles that members have?
That's a good question. I would have to. I know we have like some other like get users actions available, or I guess like what's the word I'm looking for? Queries available, but I don't remember if it has all their permissions and roles and stuff like that. I should also note that the GraphQL action is enabled at the organization level. So if you have it on your organization, then others working within your organization will have access to it as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If you need more information, I'll
say.
write a reminder to get back to you on that. I can get you more information on that roles and permissions question.
And Chris Williamson saying in the chat there he's used it for that. So maybe feel free to chat with him if you want some more insight. So
yeah, I might just need it turned on. So appreciate y'all.
I'll get that done for you, Chris or Brett. Sorry.
Anyone else got any questions? All right, Jonathan Bramley, I'm tagging you in.
Okay. So I'm going to provide absolutely no business value. I am just going to show what I made that I think is cool.
Sweet.
And it doesn't even look cool, but you're the only people who will ever understand what I'm talking about. So this is all about scheduling. I just really didn't like the idea that I can't schedule for more than like 4 weeks out. You know, the workflows don't live. And there's plenty of people, it's like almost everybody here has probably like built out a queue or something. And I was like, how can I just like make some contrived solution with GraphQL that can just make this work? So I can schedule a workflow just at any time. So it's like, if we want to start a workflow, we need a trigger, right? But there's not really like somebody speak up, but there's not like a one-time trigger. It doesn't make sense to kind of have a one-time trigger. But what you can have is you can have a cron trigger, and your cron trigger can have a specific point in time and just pretend that it's yearly. So I built this form, which, well, I didn't build a form. The form is an example of scheduling something to run at a particular time. And I used GraphQL to create a trigger on the workflow to rerun it at that specific time. And after it runs, it will then clear out the trigger, so as if it didn't happen. So if I go to my New York time zone and I specify this to run in, oh no, I messed up, 350 something, 50, and then I'll just say this is 51. Hello. So there's like a few tricks to this, but like it gets really tricky because if we want to rerun a workflow with a trigger, we have to put in all the integration overrides. Because if I want to be able to arbitrarily do this, all the benefit that I get is from the fact that I can do it arbitrarily, which means that I kind of need to pick up all of the different integration overrides. So after I run that workflow and schedule, if I refresh, I can see that we've had a run. Oh no, don't tell me it failed. Demo gods.
Classic.
Demo gods, why? Did I choose a time in the past because I'm an idiot? I did. 55. I did. I chose a time in the past because I'm an idiot. Okay. So this will go through. So form, test, refresh, blah, blah. Okay, now we've got a scheduled execution. So I created this workflow which does all the things at once, and it looks terrible. But there's a few situations that we can be in. We can either be, we're running this and we want to schedule it. We're being triggered by the cron and we don't have all of our variables yet, so we just stop. Or we're being triggered by a test with all of our variables and we do want to continue. So whenever this happens, we schedule our date time for whenever we want to start. And this first time it runs, it will not continue to the rest of the workflow because it's not the scheduled time to run yet. On the subsequent run, it will say, okay, we're now being triggered by a cron, but we don't have all of our parameters yet. So it will again stop. But the cron will then follow through to this completion handler, which will run through and it will trigger the workflow via a test action using GraphQL, and it will put in all of the inputs from the original initiation of the workflow. So I used to have it as inputs, but I realized that forms can put in more inputs than what are listed as inputs. So I dynamically keep track of all of the variables that are put into the workflow. So anything that's in context that isn't excluded can be reinserted as a variable into the workflow dynamically. So you can just put this at the front of like anything and it'll capture all the inputs and then set it up to rerun at that particular time, which is kind of magical. Okay, so what time did I click? Do y'all remember? I don't remember. Let's see, 55. Okay, so in a minute here, it should run. So a key factor of how this works is it stores in all of the input variables, everything that you need to rerun the workflow, and it stores it in a trigger parameter of the cron. So everything to rerun the workflow and the time about it, everything is just within this trigger here. We can also see that there's the Microsoft Graph integration, and that was automatically picked up from our initial trigger so that whenever this runs, it will just add in all of the overrides that you initially triggered it with, which is important because if you test with something that has different overrides, then your actions could fail. All right, so we'll have an example in just a minute here, but some little trickery. So technically, to be able to get this to work with other, to get this to work, the GraphQL is only available in the parent organization. So if I were to run this under a sub-organization, I need the GraphQL to be running at the parent to be able to make all this stuff work. So what I do is I process everything about what actions I should be taking in this schedule workflow, and then I have a completion handler set up to the thing which actually creates and manages the trigger. So I calculate what, if anything, I should be doing, and then this helper workflow, which is actually at the parent org, decides what to do. And we're either just going to schedule or we're going to test to rerun the workflow. So to schedule, it's not very difficult in principle. You just I make sure that the workflow itself has a trigger variable of that rerun parameter. So I've got GraphQL, I can just minimize the setup. If this ever runs, then it will add the proper trigger parameter to whatever is using this. And then we continue, we capture all of the variables, we capture everything, we create all of these things which will be used in the GraphQL to create it, the overrides, all of this stuff creates the trigger. If we go into the test, it's pretty straightforward. We just unparse out all of those things from the trigger, all the inputs that we need, and then we just use GraphQL to run it using some GraphQL things. We just put inside the inputs, the workflow ID. This is all stuff that you could reverse engineer from just clicking that test button. And then afterwards, we delete the trigger once we're done to get rid of that schedule entry. So if we go back to our workflow, it's past time. And so we'll see 2 new execution runs. At 3:55, the cron triggers, and it says we want to go through with this workflow. On this run, we're not actually doing anything because we don't have our test parameters yet, so it just stops. It will then go through decide what to do and say that we should test. Then it'll go into this guy and it will parse out all of those input parameters and trigger using the test action, which is what actually creates this final run, which if we look at the results, will have all of the original input from our first form submission. So it has the original date, the original time zone, anything else, that extra field that I had put in, it is now running through. And then this stopper at the beginning says, okay, this is the actual run I'm going to go through with the rest of the workflow. And we can see that our graph execution thing has succeeded because we have the proper integrations. And then we've got all of our input variables as well. And there's also a little bit more complexity, but I did also make it to where even though cron runs yearly, it'll check and make sure that it's the right year so that you can, go infinitely into the future if you want. And then afterwards, the trigger's gone. It cleans itself up and it's done. All right, I didn't read chat because I was speed running.
There's lots in there. Well done, Jonathan. That's great. Thanks. What a great little impromptu open mic demo. Thanks so much for jumping in. Yeah, very cool. So I'll let you catch up in the chat there, Jonathan, if there's anyone you want to respond to, either verbally or via written message in the chat. Last couple of minutes here, guys, before we wrap up. I just wanted to thank Chris, Jonathan, and of course DD again for demoing. I really appreciate you guys sharing some of the cool stuff that you're doing. And if you're able and willing to share it actually with the community, please feel free to drop it in our Discord workflow forum. If you're new to the call, new to Rewst, and you're just like, workflow forum, what's that? Head on over to Discord. We have an entire forum where so many of our great community members here have actually made available their workflows for you to R&D, as Aharon says, rob and duplicate. So you can just take a look through there, use the search feature, and find some really cool workflows that people have already done all the hard work for. So feel free to take a peek. But that is us, guys, for another week.
George.
Hello.
Hey, first off, Jonathan, thanks for the demo. Jonathan works at Raven Automation. If you folks need any automation help, they're a partner you can reach out to for assistance. With that, thank you, George, for putting the call together today. And thank you, all the folks that did demos today. It can be stressful. We had a large number of folks on. Thank you, everyone, for joining, and we'll see you again next week. Have a good weekend, everyone.
Meow.
Meow.
Meow.